Right, every single one of you owe me a damn cookie or something. This is what I've been contending with. Like, do you know how long it's taken me? I mean, luckily this, what you're looking at now, came pre-made. It's a public spreadsheet with all the data on it, but this is just at base. Then when you add a build to it, it gets nasty. Now, however, while we're looking at this, vectors, vector SBR 0.45 ACP, I've just called vector 0.45. Same with the replica. Vector SBR 9mm is just vector SBR, and tactical vector SBR 9mm I have just called tactical vector. The reason I've done this is because the spreadsheet is big enough already, and me trying to fit all of those in, it ended up being huge. So yeah, for those that want to know, the vector 0.45 is the same as the Dark Winter one. The vector SBR 9mm is the vector that's got like a weird, jagged, almost awkward looking buttstock, and the tactical vector SBR 9mm is the vector that doesn't have a buttstock. Right, I've tried to keep these builds relatively simple and to what people would like. So I've got 4-piece Hunter Fury, Memento, and then Gruppo Sombra chest. All rolls are crit damage, apart from the chest, which is crit chance, crit damage. I was or am using the chest talent Intimidate because it is the most optimal with SMGs. Shit bust, don't care. And this is basically the build I was running. I was trying to get all weapons as close to 60% crit chance as possible. Luckily with SMGs it's not particularly difficult, and from there were slight fluctuations in the critical hit damage. And the end result of the spreadsheet, which I've not taken screenshots of all of it just because they are huge. There is so much, because I've done the named, the weapons and the exotics all in a one rather than doing it in 2 separate videos. So this will probably be a little bit longer, but hopefully it'll be 1 video rather than 2. Now I'm aware this is quite small, it's probably be very hard for you to read. Don't worry about it, I'm going to break it down in a minute. Mainly just going to be going over the DPS, but yeah, this is just Hunter's Fury with no weapon talents active, and that's like missing like 4 weapons off the bottom as well. So that's just one of them, and then there's another Hunter's Fury, sadly I didn't take a screenshot, with weapon talents, and then I've got to do it all again with high-end builds, and then high-end builds with weapon talents. Now there are going to be a few categories for this. So we're going to start off with Hunter's Fury with no talents active, minus the named and the exotics. The named will always have their talents active, and the exotics, for some of them that I'm able to, I've done in 2 parts where they have one with talent not active and then talent active. So you'll see like Chatterbox, you'll see twice in the same list, then another one with all talents, and then all talents and accuracy uptime, and then all talents and accuracy uptime with Backfire. This rinse and repeats for high end, and then with the last one where it's talents and accuracy uptime with a Backfire build, I've mixed them all together. The reason I'm adding in Backfire separately is because upon testing this with Backfire, it was like, with everything else said and done, it was categorically the highest. It was like 3 to 4% higher than everything else. The problem is, 1, you've got to build stacks, 2, the damn weapon tries to kill you. So you need a specific build for this, or have a healer stuck to your ass. If you have a healer stuck to your ass, Backfire is probably the way to go. Problem is, it tries to slow you, the bleed slows you down. People tried arguing this, saying, oh, it's like the most amazing bloody blah SMG in the game. So I've made 2 of the most powerful Backfire builds I can think of. There might be others that are potentially more powerful, but this will just show you that when you start building for Backfire, just how much it actually drops down in the listing. So first off. So, as aforementioned, no talent, Hunter's Fury, Backfire with max stacks in at number 1. Then Chatterbox with its stacks at max in at number 1. Dark Winter, Tactical Vector, Lady Death, Cold Relations, Vector 0.45, Apartment, Grudge, Banshee, MPX, Safety Distance, MP7, Swap Chain, Vector SBR, P90, Emmeline's Guard, SMG9, AUG, MP5, PP19, SMG9, A2, Tommy Gun, Backfire with no stacks, UMP45, M1928, T821, Chatterbox with no stacks, and then of course the real meta, Slayer. So just to point out again, that is with a lot of those weapons, like 95% of them with none of their talents active. Things like Grudge had Perfect Vindictive active. For a lot of them, Emmeline's Guard, it's not a damage talent, so it's not going to change, etc, etc. However, the moment we had a talent, there is a little bit of a mix around. Backfire with max stacks, Chatterbox with max stacks, Tactical Vector, Dark Winter, Vector 0.45, Lady Death, Banshee, MPX, weird one coming in from the air, off, MP7, Cold Relations, Vector SBR, The Apartment, P90, Grudge, SMG9, AUG, MP5, PP19, Safety Distance, SMG9, A2, Swap Chain, Tommy Gun, Emmeline's Guard, UMP45, M1928, T821, Backfire with no stacks, Chatterbox with no stacks, and then of course the real meta coming in, Slayer. Now the talent I've used for these is the exact same one I did on the ARs video. I just used Killer. For all those people saying that the Apartment is amazing, why is it the MPX does so much more than the Apartment? No answer? Cool. Moving on. Right, for the next one, this is calculating their accuracy as well as their uptime. This is the part where this is subject to me. Okay, this is my accuracy, how accurate I was with them, and how regularly I was able to have the uptime of their talents active. Luckily, with Killer playing solo, especially if there's a good bit of group density, it's not that hard. After you kill the first target, it's pretty easy to get it up and keep it going. Don't make it weird. Make it weird. Make it weird. Come on, all the sex jokes, all of them. So, with this, there was actually one hell of a surprise contender. Turns out that Safety Distance is actually a little bit dumb when it comes to accuracy, especially when you start adding in varying different ranges. All testing was done on the range at 15 meters because that seemed to be pretty much the low end. I mean, the lowest they really get is like 14 for optimal range. The MPXs go up to 22 meters. But yeah, apparently I need to do a video about Safety Distance after testing this. Anyway, so testing with accuracy, got Dark Winter, Tactical Vector, Lady Death, Chatterbox, Banshee, Vector 0.45, MPX, P90, Backfire, Vector SBR, MP7, Grudge, Safety Distance, MP5, Cold Relations, Apartment, SMG9, Emmeline's Guard, SMG9, A2, AUG, PP19, UMP45, Swap Chain, M1928, Tommy Gun, T821, and then Slayer. Now, just because I know people are going to be like, hang on, how did the Safety Distance and the Apartment swap so dramatically? It's actually quite simple due to the recoil rate, and nothing in the Apartment helps with the recoil at varying ranges, despite the fact that Perfect Measured is a damage talent. Damage talents don't count for shit if you can't hit shit, whereas the Safety Distance, it's out DPS's a FAMAS at 40 meters once it's procced. An SMG will out DPS the highest DPS AR at 40 meters. Anyway, as previously mentioned, like I said, with something like Backfire thrown into this, if you try and use Backfire without a specific build or a healer stuck to your ass, the weapon will kill you, if not the enemies, due to the slowing effect of bleed. So, in true Hunter's Fury fashion, I made this 4-piece Hunter Furies. All rolls are Hasbro, 2-piece Cheska with both Hasbro on there and 2 bleed resist mods. This puts you at 100% bleed resistance. You can drop it down to 1 bleed resist, which will put you to 90%, which is what I was just showing in that clip there. This still gives you 3% bleed damage, which is perfectly fine. You get like 1 tick of bleed, and this was the only build running this, and I then threw that into the mix. This just kind of makes Backfire viable, whereas with the other builds used with these weapons, they're all viable. Using Backfire with these builds isn't viable because you're going to die quickly. So plug in that end, Backfire with that build and the rest remaining the same. Dark Winter, Tactical Vector, Lady Death, Chatterbox Banshee, Vector 0.45, MPX P90, Vector SPR, then Backfire. Backfire has dropped pretty much 2% in overall DPS just trying to build for the weapon. And this again is going to be subject to enemy population density, meaning if you don't have a lot of enemies to go pew 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 on, Backfire will quickly and soundly pretty much drop to the bottom. Like, it's on par with just below the UMP 45, which is near enough a 25% DPS drop. So yeah, all those people that wanted to argue with me when in my exotics video, when I said that Backfire is classed as one of the worst exotics in the game, yeah, 25% DPS drop, mate. There we are. Have fun. Now, due to the very large drop off, as you might remember if you've watched my AR video, the total difference between all the ARs ended up only really being about 10 to 15%, whereas all of the difference between SMGs, we're going to exclude Slayer because we all know by this point Slayer's a piece of shit. The total difference between all of these ends up being about 32%. Due to the top edge DPS ratings of SMGs, I would argue you are looking at between Dark Winter and the P90 for your meta listings. They are really going to be sort of like your top end DPSs. The gap between those, Dark Winter, Tactical Vector, Lady Death, Chatterbox, Banshee, Vector 0.45, MPX and P90, the overall gap between them is less than 10%. That is not a lot in the grand scheme of DPS for people to really get grumpy over. Sure, there are other things you could look at that potentially will be up there as well, and typically you will find that within 15 to 20 meters pretty much every SMG will out DPS an AR. ARs just have the accuracy over range game. So if you're going more for body shots, SMGs. If you're going more for headshots, ARs. That is really the big difference between them. However, in terms of just outright DPS, I believe pretty much every SMG, minus like UMP 45, Swap Chain, Tommy Gun, M1928 and the T821 will outperform pretty much every AR. Anyway, on to the high-end build. So this is the high-end build I conjured up. Coyote's Mask, Sokolov Backpack, Sokolov Chest, Contractors, Foxes, and then Grupo. It's basically crit chance, crit damage everywhere. However, for some of the exotics where they already have like very high profile crit chance mods already on them, some of the crit chance roles got changed to weapon handling. And although this doesn't seem like a big deal, where it increases your hit potential because SMGs are about as accurate as a KVD video, yeah, the difference it made was actually quite staggering. Hey look, more spreadsheets. God damn it. So yeah, this is the high-end DPSs. Again, I know it's very small. This actually ended up being larger because there was more to calculate in. But yeah, this is without talents. So it got really messy. On the plus side here, we do have things like damage to armor, a bit more damage to targets out of cover, higher critical hit damage. However, the one thing I did actually notice is high end compared to Hunter's Fury. Yeah, Hunter's Fury kicks the living crap out of high end. Like, there is not really even a competition. It's kind of hilarious. Anyway, so high end build with no talent, Backfire at max, Chatterbox at max, Dark Winter, Lady Death, Tactical Vector, Vector 0.45, Apartment, Cold Relations, Grudge, Banshee, MPX, Safety Distance, MP7, Swap Chain, Backfire, Vector SBR, P90, Emmeline's Guard, SMG 9, AUG, PP19, MP5, SMG 9, A2, Tommy Gun, UMP 45, M19 A2, Tommy Gun, UMP 45, M19 21, T8 21, Chatterbox with no stacks, Slayer. And if you want to cross-reference with Hunter's Fury with no talents, press pause now. Moving on. Now if we add Killer into our high-end build, Backfire and Chatterbox at max remain at the top. Tactical Vector, Dark Winter, Vector 0.45, Lady Death, Banshee, MPX, MP7, Vector SBR, The Apartment, Cold Relations, P90, The Grudge, SMG 9, AUG, Safety Distance, Swap Chain, PP19, Backfire with no stacks, MP5, SMG 9A2, Emmeline's Guard, Tommy Gun, M19 28. I have never seen this weapon, by the way. T8 21, UMP 45, Chatterbox with no stacks, Slayer. And again, just for cross reference with Hunter's Fury with talents, press pause now if you want to have a look. If not, we're moving on. Again, rapito, andale, arriba. I've gone crazy with the amount of painkillers I'm on and looking at spreadsheets all free for about 4 days straight. 4 days this has taken me. I should get paid more. Now this is the part adding in uptime where things got interesting. Due to the fact that Chatterbox has like a sight on it which gives plus 15% critical hit chance, we were able to swap around, I think it was 2 rolls, 2 crit chance rolls into handling rolls, which basically at 15 meters gave us like a 99% accuracy rating at 15 meters. So the amount of headshots I was able to get consistently with the Chatterbox clearly put it on a high-end build in the top spot. So we went Chatterbox, Tactical Vector, Dark Winter, Lady Death, Backfire, Banshee, Vector 0.45, MPX, P90, Vector SBR, Grudge, MP7, Safety Distance, MP5, Apartment, Cold Relations, Emmeline's Guard, SMG 9, SMG 9A2, AUG, PP19, Swap Chain, M19A2, I still have no idea what this weapon is or what it even looks like, Tommy Gun, UMP 45, T18 21, and then Slayer. If you want to cross references with the previous uptime sheet with Hunter's Fury, press pause now. Quick flex, just because I can, it's my video, I can do what the fuck I want. I recently had a comment saying that if I run Hunter's Fury in open world without any blues, I'm going to die a lot. And because I said that I didn't, I'm an outright liar. This video's been going on for 19 minutes. This is an elite convoy. I've done convoys, territory controls. I think there was a hostage thingy as well playing in the background. I've not gone down once, and this is a complete meme Hunter's Fury build. It's 4-piece Hunter's Fury. Bloody knuckles and claws out with Lady Death, all reds. I do not die once. This video is like over 30 minutes long. I do not die once. You do not need blue cores. Right, up next is adding in our Backfire build into it just to make it at least, you know, viable and worthwhile. So this is the high-end Backfire build I went with. It's 90% Hasbro, 100% bleed resist. Talents will be Bloodsucker or Adrenaline Rush, bloody blah with Intimidate. We have 2-piece Cheska for mask and backpack, Jarl for chest, Contractor's gloves, Fox's prayer, and Grupo holster. This gives us 60% crit chance, and I think it was like 113% critical hit damage. I don't actually quite remember, but added it all into the spreadsheet. This was the best high-end build I could actually come up with. If you have another one, fine. It's not really going to make too much of a difference to where it would actually stand in the overall grand scheme of things, simply because you have to hit 200 shots in order for Backfire to actually really be effective, just because the overall performance of it is quite lacking while building up, and you are generally better off with most other SMGs during that process and throughout playing with Backfire quite a lot, because statistically, if you can go for a maxed out DPS build and have a healer stuck to your ass, it's like the highest DPS weapon in the game. It's bloody bonkers. Problem is, you need a healer stuck to your ass. If you can't have that, you've got to deal with the bleed, and dealing with the bleed actually ends up making it worse. So here we go with the Backfire build. Everything else is as standard: Chatterbox, Vector, Tactical Vector, Darkwind, Lady Death, Banshee, Vector .45, MPX, P90, Vector SPR, Grudge, MP7, Safety Distance, MP7, Apartment, Cold Relations, then Backfire, Emmeline's Guard, SMG 9, SMG 9A2, AUG, PP19, Swap Chain, M1921, Tommy Gun, UMP 45, T821, Slayer. As you can see, Mr. Backfire has dropped down considerably, and if you want to cross-reference it with the Hunter's Fury setup, with the Backfire build, yeah, it's dropped down quite a bit. Now, again, I wish to reiterate that when it comes to the uptime, as well as the ones where I've added Backfire in, that is with the accuracy that I tested this. It was actually quite a good question on the last video I did of these with the assault rifle video. How did I test the accuracy? It's quite simple, really. I went to the range, I put damage numbers on, I got the weapon out that I needed to test, and at 15 meters with, well, I did it with like 20 meters with the AR, 15 meters with the SMG. I aim at the head and I just hold the trigger down and try and keep it on target. I will do this for 2 magazines. The reason being is over 2 magazines, the majority of the weapons will have 100 bullets. I then, because I'm on PC, I have an in-game chat which I can turn damage numbers on, and it puts into the in-game chat the damage numbers. You possibly have seen this on a few of my videos. It appear on the bottom left of my screen. I don't know if I actually have it active in this. You'll see now. No, I don't. Typically on videos I will have it active in the bottom left, so you will see the damage numbers pop up there. After 2 magazines, that's 100 bullets, I literally just go through and I count the damage numbers. If there's 98 damage numbers and I fired 2 magazines, that means I missed. For easy calculations, that's a 98% accuracy at 15 meters. And I would do that for every bloody weapon. To calculate uptime, I will do a control point. For the control point, I will basically test it at 0%, and I then count frames. This is why these videos take me so damn long. I will sit here and count frames. I actually stick my game to being fixed at 30 frames a second while doing this, just because it's less frames for me to bloody count. Then from starting at 0%, I calculate the overall frames it took me throughout the duration of that control point. And then I subtract the frames where the talent is not active. The ratio between them is the percentage of my uptime. Yeah. Maybe there's an easier way to calculate uptime of the killer talent. However, this is just the way I'm doing it because it's the easiest way I can think of doing it. And I just sit here and count frames. It does my head in. Luckily, with the builds that I'm testing, especially with Hunter's Fury, it was really easy. I can do like the control points I was doing. I can do them in like a minute. So yeah, it's not that long of accounting. And luckily with the editing software I use, it actually directly counts the overall frames for me. I then just need to go through and find the frames where I have killer active versus not active, and yeah, the end result is the damage calculations you see before you. They may not be the most accurate way to test them. This is why I'm stressing when it comes to the uptime ones, take them with a pinch of salt. When it comes to their maximum potential DPS, which is the talent versus non-talent, they are going to be kind of set in stone. But just because you have this level of DPS doesn't mean that's what you'll actually achieve. A good example of this, which will be shown in the next one of these I do, which will be rifles, is you will see that the gold standard for DPS rifle is the M1A Classic. However, on paper, the M1A Classic is not even top 5 DPS. It's just not. Like, USC 45 beats it, lightweight M4 beats it, so many weapons actually beat it on paper in DPS. But then if you actually went to use these weapons at maximum potential while firing, like spamming the maximum RPM, which is where their DPS is coming from, you're not going to hit anything. You won't even hit the White House from the front door. It's that bad. Anyway, back on track with SMGs. Now, the last thing I actually have to show you is essentially the last two tables. High-end Backfire and Hunter's Fury Backfire, but amalgamated into one. Now, obviously, I kind of feel like these are going to be your best representations. I'm not the most accurate player, but I'm also technically not the worst, so I feel like this will give you a good rough guideline on what SMGs you may potentially want to use. However, one thing that did come up when I asked whether you want me to test these things on a Hunter's Fury build or on a high-end build is most people wanted both, which is fine, just longer video. But those that wanted Hunter Fury outright said that Hunter's Fury builds are better, and those that wanted high-ends just said that they're kind of bored of Hunter Fury builds, which I get. I do. However, the purpose of this last table, which you're about to see, is purely just to show the actual difference between what you're able to get between a high-end build and a Hunter's Fury build. Now, the Hunter's Fury builds, the writing is in, I think it's blue or a turquoise, I don't know. And the high-end builds are, I'm hoping it's a yellow. I don't know, it just appears grey to me, so I can't tell you. But yeah, so Hunter's Fury, I'm hoping I've done it in the colour of the sets, and then for high-end, I'm hoping I've done it in the colour of high-end pieces. So this actually ends up being one hell of a list, so I'll split it in half. So as I said, the blue, I think they're blue, are Hunter's Fury, and then the yellow are high-end. Hunter's Fury Dark Winter, Tactical Vector, Lady Death Chatterbox, high-end Chatterbox, Hunter's Fury Banshee, Vector .45, MPX P90 Vector SBR, high-end Tactical Vector, Hunter's Fury Backfire, MP7 Grudge, high-end Dark Winter, Lady Death, Hunter's Fury Safety Distance, MP5, Cold Relations Apartment, SMG 9, high-end Banshee, Hunter's Fury Emmeline's Guard, high-end Vector .45, Hunter's Fury SMG 9A2, or high-end MPX P90, Hunter's Fury PP19, high-end Vector SBR, Hunter's Fury UMP 45, high-end Grudge, Hunter's Fury Swap Chain, High-End MP7, Safety Distance, MP5, Apartment, Cold Relations, Backfire, Emmeline's Guard, SMG 9, Hunter's Fury, M19 28, High-End SMG 9A2, Hunter's Fury Tommy Gun, High-End AUG, Hunter's Fury T821, High-End PP19 Swap Chain M19A2, Tommy Gun, UMP 45, T8121. Oh my god, I deserve another cookie just for reading that out. Wait, nope, I forgot to. Hunter's Fury Slayer, High-End Slayer. Right, yeah, where's my cookie? Gimme. Right, just in case you are wanting to see them all in one big ass list, I am sorry, this is as big as I can make it. Although this should give you a rough idea of just how much more powerful Hunter's Fury actually is. Simply just because it's like another 45% amplified damage. It's just bonkers. Yeah. Right, again, read into these numbers, these sheets, as you will. These are not to tell you what to play or what not to play. Pretty much every weapon in this game is actually viable depending on your play style, how good you are, etc, etc, etc. There are just so many variables when it comes to it. I'm just adding in a few basics like accuracy and uptime. To put it into perspective, my favourite SMG is Emmeline's Guard. And that's like from the start, it's like near enough a 30% damage drop. Just because if you're running full reds, add in perfect preservation and Hunter's Fury, get a kill, that's like 32% healed straight away. Like, yeah, it's just amazing. And I find that the overall magazine capacity of the P90 is really damn handy. I'm going to run preservation on it anyway, so I might as well go for Emmeline's Guard and get perfect preservation. Other than that, that is pretty much it for this video. Yeah, hashtag wearing 6 red Hunter Fury still not gone down. I'm about to do a heroic bounty with 3 directives. I might actually just leave that playing, but yeah, the video is done now. This is my Did You Know SMGs. I will be doing rifles next. Hopefully they're going to be a lot easier. But in the meantime, have fun, good luck, don't die. I didn't. It's bad for the health.